You're in a totally different situation than when I started, because today everything is transparent. Everything. Your prices are transparent. Your complaints are transparent. Your positives are transparent. Every employee, every guest, everybody, meeting planners, intermediaries, travel agents, tour operators, the distribution system, the electronic distribution system, it's all transparent. So if you don't have a customer service culture, you're going to get bombed. And you really, you're going to get bombed.
That's why it's so important what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the service pledge that you began as the service pledge.
Yes.
The service pledge it should goes without saying. It goes without saying. It's not but that commitment has to go all the way up to the top. So we got our money, and we start building again. And we were building for about a month or so, and I got a call in my office from a fellow whose name I don't even know anymore, the president of and he calls and he says, "Are you Mike Leven?" I said, "Yeah, I'm such and such. When are you going to open the so this is how he talked to me. "When are you going to open the I said, "Well, I don't know. We just went under construction." I said, "Well, you're going to have to tell me because you've been delayed. And, you know, we have a management contract." I said, "I know you have a management contract." So I said, "Well, if you give me about 4 or 5 months, I'll be able to give you an estimate of the date." He said, "Well, my directors are upset, and they would really like to know." I said, "Okay, call me in 3 or 4 months." So he calls me in 3 or 4 months, and he says, "Can you give me a date now?" I said, "Unfortunately, I can't." So I said, "Well, how many hotels have you opened?" And he said, "Maybe 20. I said, "Well, I've opened 2,500. I said, "And at this stage in the construction, I could not give myself a definitive date. So what makes you think I can give you a definitive date?" He says, "Well, if you don't, my directors are going to be very upset, whatever." So I said, "Well, I'll work on it, and give me another month or two, and So he calls me another month or two. He said, "Do you have a date?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, okay." He said, "Well, I think I'm going to have to go to my directors." So I said, "Look, why don't you leave? I mean, if you can't, you know, if you're going to be this way, you know, why should you?" He said, "Well, you know, you have a cancellation penalty." I said, "Yeah, I know, $80,000. I knew, I had checked that." I said, "I'll tell you what, why don't you go, I'll send you a check for $80,000. He said, "Fine. We'll do a joint press release, and we'll send it out." He lost, for $80,000, a 600-room, 5-star hotel, and a 1,200-room Traders. He will never get into Macau in any of your lifetimes. There's no other space. Gone. It took $80,000. So in the paper, in the Wall Street Journal, a week after the press release went out, I'm sitting in my office and you know the story? Chris Nazetta called me, and he said, "Hi, this is Chris Nazetta." I said, "Hi, Chris, how are you?" "Fine." He knew me. He said, "What are you doing with your hotels?" I said, "What hotels?" He said, "Macau." I said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I'm going to give the 1,200-room hotel, and I'm going to work on it because I think it's more appropriate as a Traders type hotel." And I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do with a 600-room hotel." He said, "I don't want to do the same brand. I'd rather have 2 brands." He says, "Well, can you make it a Conrad?" I said, "But you don't franchise in Asia. You manage." He says, "Mike, for you, we'll franchise." We did the deal in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and he ended up with a 600-room hotel opening about less than a year from then. And the same thing happened in used to work for me. We did that deal in 15 minutes. I did both deals.
I love that.
Where we had a lot of comps because of the gaming, where I didn't have to pay royalties on the comps, up to 40% of the occupancy. And we did it in like 15 minutes. Now, here's an interesting thing. This gentleman who was president of, I think he's probably still president, if I were on the board when he did that, I would have fired him, without question. How could he possibly do that and lose all that? It cost him millions of dollars. I mean, over a period of contract, probably $50 million between the two hotels. And he just blew it. Very successful, paid royalties all these years, made a lot of money. Now, how does that happen? Where was he coming from? Would you want to work for that company if that's the kind of attitude?